Hey everyone, welcome back. Glad you could make it today. Today I'm going to be discussing Pandas TA, which is yet another technical analysis library for Python. I've covered quite a few of these before, but I want to be comprehensive and cover the entire ecosystem of the different Python packages that are out there. And so I've come up with a few project ideas that we can use to learn and demonstrate this library. The first thing I'm going to show you is just how to use this library, so just how to get price data as usual, and then how to apply some of these indicators and functions that are built in, some of the features of Pandas TA. As you can see, it provides 130 different indicators. So I want to show you how to apply this library to a Pandas data frame. Secondly, what I want to do is build some projects on top of this. So what I'll do is we're going to build this alerting functionality. So TradingView, as I've demonstrated, if you use TradingView, it has this alerting functionality where you can alert on different points of interest. So it might be on an indicator or on a strategy, or maybe you just want to know when price crosses above a certain threshold or moves down a certain amount, and then you want to receive some type of notification. And a lot of people have been asking me about setting up a Discord. And so one thing I thought would be kind of cool is to create a little Discord notification bot here. And so we're going to be using this indicator library in order to make notifications on any of these different indicators and just notify on Discord. And so what I have right here is a Python script that's running on a server, and it's periodically checking the price of Ethereum and also applying some technical analysis to that price data. And so it's using Pandas TA to do that. And here, for instance, I'm using the ADX indicator, and I'm trying to determine whether the price is in an uptrend or a downtrend, or whether there's no clear trend. As you can see right here, it's posting every couple of minutes here, and it's just saying no clear trend for Ethereum. So it's looking at that price data. It tells me the ADX value along with these directional, positive and negative directional indicator values right here, and just saying there's no clear trend. So if we were to look at Ethereum right now, and I look over here on my TradingView, yeah, so you can see Ethereum is kind of range bound right now, right? And so there's no clear trend yet, whereas here you see it's in a clear uptrend, and you see this ADX value is high here. And we'll dive into that more in a moment. And so based on whether a particular stock symbol or crypto currency is in an uptrend or whether it's range bound, you might want to apply different strategies depending on those conditions. So for instance, someone asked me to build a grid bot by request, and I think there's a script here for that in TradingView, but some people like to specify a grid to trade around. I don't know whether this is a good idea or not, but this is just an example. So I have this grid simulator here, and what we can do is, like, where is Ethereum trading now? Between 2050 and 2150. And so for this grid simulator, what I can do, it lets me say I want to trade in this range here, right? So if I put that there, it'll draw these grid lines on the price, right? And then you can program your grid bot to execute, place a bunch of buy and sell orders to trade this range. And yeah, we'll look at this later on in a future tutorial, and we can see whether this is useful to us or not. So after we learn how to apply a variety of these indicators locally on our local machine and are able to send a Discord notification, I'm going to show you how to deploy this all to Linode. So I have a Linode running, right? And so I have this Linux server running. It's just a small CPU and not much RAM, but that's all we really need. And this is like $5 a month. So I have a server running at all times. I'm going to show you how to get this up and running at all times. And I've left this running, for the last 24 hours. So you can see this has been running nonstop, issuing these alerts. So I'll show you how to take our code and deploy it to a server. Okay, and then the third thing I'm going to do is show you how to build a user interface for Pandas TA. And so what we can do here is I have a Streamlit app open here, and I'm going to show you how to build this web app here where I can type a symbol such as Tesla, and I'm going to show you how to make it draw this chart, and it also pull in the price history for Tesla and show it right there. And then we'll dynamically pull in all the different indicators that are available in the library, right? And so I can click ADX right here, and then this will automatically use the default calculations for ADX that are built into the library, but then I can override any of those. So if I want this to be length 25 here, and I type that in, you see how it'll recalculate that. And the other thing you'll notice here is when I selected that first indicator, you see how it instantly drew the second indicator box here. And so let's say I want to combine this with the MACD. You see I can select MACD, and then you see it automatically calculates MACD there, and then I can enter different parameters here. So let's say if I want to change these default values to like 15 and 28, and then 10 here, or whatever you want to do, and you see how that automatically updates and runs new calculations here. And so what we're going to do is show you how to do some more dynamic programming with Python to dynamically call these different indicator functions based on what's selected inside of this user interface. We'll be able to update these charts with whatever symbol we want, so I can easily switch over to Microsoft and it'll switch over and run the same calculations, and I can try out different indicator combinations. So yeah, these are the projects we're going to be building in this tutorial. So before we can build something this complex, we need to start off very simple with a command line script that can demonstrate some of this functionality that's built into Pandas TA. So let's go ahead and get started talking about the features of Pandas TA, get a simple script going, and then we're going to build on top of that. So let's get started. And so as you may have guessed, if you've been following this channel for a while, we got a new Visual Studio Code editor here, and we're going to be writing this using the Python programming language. I'm going to create a requirements.txt file. This is where I show the packages I'll be using in this tutorial. And so we're going to need Pandas TA, Y Finance. We'll use that to just get some stock price data when we're demonstrating stocks. And we'll use CCXT, which we've been using to get crypto data from a variety of exchanges. We don't need anything else yet, but I'll go ahead and add these for now since I'm going to be building multiple projects. We're going to end up using Streamlit. We're going to use Matplotlib, and we're going to use Plotly. Actually, I don't think we need Matplotlib for now. Plotly and requests, okay? And so those are our dependencies, and I'm going to create a new file, and I'm just going to call this ta.py, and then in here, I'll import CCXT and Y Finance, and then I'll import Pandas TA as TA, and I'll import Pandas as PD. And so to get started, we'll need our price data to apply this analysis on as usual. And so in CCXT, just to look this up, because I can't assume that everyone's watched every video, right? Just to review, CCXT here is a library for cryptocurrency data, and then Y Finance is a package for getting data from Yahoo Finance. And so CCXT, I'm going to use this, and you can see you just need an exchange class here. And so your exchange might be called Binance, right? And so what I can do is use Binance. We're not going to do any authentication or ordering here, so you don't need any API keys or anything. This should just work out of the box. And so I'm going to do exchange equals CCXT dot, and I can do dot Binance like that. And inside of the CCXT library, there's actually a function for just getting bars of data. So I can do bars equals exchange dot fetch OHLCV, just like that. And then I just need to give this a symbol of some sort. So since this is a Binance, I can do ETH/USDT like that. I can give it a time frame. It looks like the default time frame is 1 minute here, but I can do time frame equals, let's say, 5 minutes, right? And then also I can give it a limit on the number of bars that I want to retrieve. And so let's just do limit equals, let's get 500 for now, right? And so if this all works as expected, this should just print out a data frame full of data, okay? And so you see, this is actually a list of lists here. So you see I have a ton of price data here. So Pandas TA actually works on a Pandas data frame. So this list of lists, it's not going to know what to do with it. So how do we get this list of lists and convert it to a Pandas data frame? Well, that's very easy. We just do df, so a data frame equals pd.dataframe, okay? And then I could just give it these bars as the first parameter, and then I need to give it a list of columns. So this Pandas data frame will have columns, and I just give it this list of columns in order. So I'm going to do the columns, and it looks like we have time, and then open, high, low, close here, and then volume. And so I'll just do columns So I'll do columns equals, and then I have a list, open, high, low, close, and volume here. And those are the names of my Pandas data frames columns. And if I print the data frame here now and then remove the printing of bars, it should be formatted a bit nicer. And looks like I messed it up. Open, high, low, close, volume. Oh, and time that I deleted there. And so the first column is actually time. Okay. And so you see this, I have this nice data frame. I requested 500 bars. And so 0 through 499. There's my timestamp, open, high, low, close, and volume. And so you see these are actually 300 seconds apart, or 5 minutes. So I requested a 5-minute time frame. And this is actually a Unix timestamp in milliseconds. So I could actually divide that by 1,000. And so yeah, there's my price data for Ethereum that we can operate on. For the folks that are interested in trading stocks, we can do the same thing, get a data frame of stocks from Yahoo Finance. We've done this many times. We can do ticker equals yfinance.ticker. Okay. And then we just give it a symbol like Tesla, for instance, just like that. And then we can do a data frame equals, and then we do ticker.history. Okay. And then that history, we just need to give it some period, or let's see if it gives us a default period. So if I print that data frame for a Tesla, let's see what we get. Yeah. So it gives us a data frame of Tesla price data, and it looks like 30 days is the default that it gives us, but we could also specify we want more. So we can say we want period 1 year, right? And so if I did that, you'd see we get a lot more data. So we can pull price data for crypto, and we can pull it for the dailies for stock, and we can pull minute data for stock as well if we want to do that. Or you don't have to use Yahoo Finance if you want to use Alpaca, Interactive Brokers, other data sources for that. You can use that as long as you get it in a data frame just like this. And so now that we have these nice data frames with price data, let's apply Pandas TA. Let's just use some basic indicators that come out of the box. So let's look at the documentation for Pandas TA. And by the way, make sure you check out the yfinance package here. That's how I knew to do .history, but I've done this so many times on the channel that's why I know, .ticker, .history, right? So there's Pandas TA, and you can see the indicators are divided into different categories. So if I look for momentum on this page, right? You see these are divided into different categories of indicators depending on what you're attempting to measure. So for momentum, you can see there's like the MACD right there. You can see there's the RSI right there. So those are some common ones, but you might know about what a Fisher transform is, directional movement, and so for awesome oscillator, I don't even know what that is, but you can see there's so many of these to choose from if you want to play around with these. So there's the set of momentum indicators. Here's the overlap category. You see there's this double exponential moving average, the EMA, Fibonacci's weighted moving average, a lot of things. Super trend, we built that from scratch when we were trying to figure it out. It looks like that's just built in out of the box. Got linear regression here, a whole bunch of stuff built in to this package. There's some basic performance measurements you can do to log drawdowns and percent returns. You got statistics here, right? If you just want a mean or a variance or standard deviation. Got trend indicators right here. So ADX is one we'll use in a moment to do our alert on, and it also includes the directional movement indicators there. Volatility, right? If we want to do like our Bollinger Bands, Keltner channels, that sort of thing. And then there's volume indicators for accumulation, distribution, money flow index. Yeah, on balance volume, a whole bunch of indicators built in across many different categories. You can also see there's some other features of this library, including integration with Vector BT. And Vector BT is a backtesting library that I plan to do a tutorial on in the future. Looks like there's some ways to build strategies, full strategies using this. And there's some integration with TAlib as well. So if you want to use those candlestick pattern recognition that I did a video on, like the stuff that detects a hanging man and inverted hammer and that sort of thing. If you have TAlib installed and this Pandas TA installed, then you can just call all these functions and recognize those patterns as well. Okay, so let's take one of these functions. So I'm going to use ADX as an example. So you see how you just call TA dot whatever the name of the indicator you want is. So there's a function for each of these indicators like DPO, long run, parabolic stop and reverse, so forth, right? And so I just go to my Python code, and since I have this data frame here, I'm going to do it on crypto at first. What I do is I have this data frame, and so I can call, since I imported Pandas TA as TA, I can do ta.adx right out of the box, and you see the ADX indicator built in accepts high, low, and close. So you need to pass it a series of high, lows, and closes, and then optionally you can pass it a specific length. So it has defaults for the length and all these parameters, but you are required to pass it a series of high, lows, and closes. And so since I have those, I can pass df high, df low, low, and then df close, okay? And this requires more than just a close. You have to pass a high, low, and close, because I think this will end up calculating the ATR first, which requires high, low, and close. Yeah, so there's the ATR calculation here, and it uses the length you pass in. And the default length, let's see what the default length is. I'm going to look inside of here. And it looks like there's a default length of 14 here. And so, yeah, if we wanted to do a length of 10, for instance, we could do that. Okay, so there's ta.adx. So I'm going to say adx equals ta.adx, pass it my data frame, and then I'll print adx just like that. And now if I print that out, run it, you see now I have a brand new data frame called adx, and I printed that out. And so you see I have values for adx 14, and I have these directional movement indicators here, right? And then so that's my current ADX value on Ethereum. And it looks like it's up to 26 now. And then it says DMN 14, and that's greater than this positive directional index. And so without looking at the Ethereum chart, I'm going to assume that Ethereum went from a narrow range, which it was in when I hit the record button about 20 minutes ago or so. I'm going to assume it went into a downtrend, so I don't have to look at the chart or any of the price history necessarily. Supposedly this indicator is going to tell me that Ethereum is now in a downtrend. And so let's see if that's the case. I'm going to go over to my chart for Ethereum, and I have it open, and I'm going to hide this because it's getting in the way. And then I'm on the 5-minute chart, and it looks like it's interpreting this. Yeah, so you see there's a mixture of candles that are choppy, but then now look at that. Red, 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 down, down, right? And so you see now Ethereum went down to 2080 in the last 20, 30 minutes or so. So from 2135 to 2080. And so you can see this ADX value, right? It was low here, right? It was narrow here. And then since it started going down quickly, you see this ADX rises. And if you look at our Investopedia, for instance, right? The article on this, just to study this indicator a little more, you can see there's significance to the value of 25. So this is one possible indicator to try to study price and to detect whether an instrument is trending strongly or not. And so you see a value of 0 to 25 is absent or weak trend, but once it gets above 25, we're saying it's in a strong trend, and it can get even stronger. So if the price went like parabolic, for instance, then this value would go up even higher. And so applying this to Ethereum here, you see how a downtrend started here, right? And so it's just now getting started. Basically, once it exceeded 25, now we're saying, oh, it might be breaking down out of this range here. And you see there's a bit of lag here, right? So it has to go down a while first, and then this value will start going up, right? And so just to see how it looked historically, right, you see this downtrend accelerates here, and then the ADX value goes up. And one thing to note anytime anyone covers this indicator is just this ADX part alone, right? The ADX alone here doesn't tell you the direction. It just tells you the strength of the trend, right? And so even though this is going down, it's trending down, the ADX is going up. And so this is where there's a strong uptrend and the ADX value is going up, right? And that's why I added this other bit here. So let me pull this back up. And this actually plots the ADX along with those positive and negative directional values. So if I zoom in here, and then I've changed the colors on these, it's so that the positive DI here is green and the negative DI is red, and then I have the ADX in blue. And so you see this ADX should match this one, right? And then you see that red, how that's up here, and this green is down. So that means since the red is on top here, that means it's a downtrend. And if I look back to this other period of time, right, where the ADX is high up here, this is a strong uptrend. You'll see this green line crosses above the red line, right? And so the green line is up here, right? So just basic statistics that are being applied here to try to catch this trend. And I know this thing isn't going to be perfect. It's going to lag a bit. Things can easily reverse really quickly. So it's not like this always knows the answers, but just some general measurements you can do. And you can see how I was able to know that, Ethereum was trending down because just looking at the numerical values that came out of Pandas TA. All right. In addition to ADX, there's a variety of other indicators, but before I dive into those, what I want to mention is you see how I had to remember the order of these, this DF high, low, and close. What's kind of cool about Pandas TA is that since all these generally have open, high, low, close as the columns, what you can do here is somehow it magically adds these functions to your existing data frame, right? And so what I can do here, I'm going to comment out that ADX right here, and I'm going to say DF, right? I already had a data frame. So when I print the data frame by itself, right, it's just the open, high, low, close volume. But if I can actually call df.ta.adx just like that, and then I don't even have to pass it that open, high, low, close. And now I can do ADX equals that. And if I print ADX like that, you can see how I was able to just magically work because it infers the name of the columns, or it knows the names of the column already, and then it adds this TA function on top of just a basic Pandas data frame, so I can call it just like that. And so that makes it so easy. So now that we want to pull out like MACD, for instance, we can do MACD equals df.ta.macd, and then we print the MACD. Okay, do that. And so you can see right there, now we have our MACD values calculated right there. One downside for me running it this way, it seems to mess with my IntelliSense that lets me see the parameters in line here in Visual Studio Code. But if I just type ta.macd like that, you can see I can see what the parameters are, or you can look at the source code of Pandas TA to find out what all the different parameters are. So it looks like I can pass in my own fast and slow and signal values here. And so if I want to use fast equals 14 and then slow equals 28 or something like that, then I can run this and it'll calculate it with those values. So you see it actually has a naming convention for all the columns there. So there's another calculation there. And likewise, I can do any other indicator I want. So you get the idea, df.ta RSI, and then print RSI, right? And then you can try whatever you want. Okay, and so there's the RSI as a single column. So what might you want to do here? So you see how I have a new data frame here that just has those values. What kind of sucks there is it's detached from the price, right? It returned a new data frame that just has the ADX values and just has the MACD values. And so one thing I might want to do is put all this into one big data frame, right? And then in that big data frame, I might want to filter it down the stock symbol or the crypto asset that I'm trading. I might want to filter that down to only rows that match a certain condition. So when it's overbought or oversold, or when there's an uptrend, a strong uptrend, for instance, and I want to find just those periods of time, or for the instance of our Discord bot, we want to look at the last bar and see if it matches certain conditions. So we want all of these calculations to happen in one place. And so how do we combine these data frames? Well, if you know your pandas, you can create a new data frame, right? And you can do PD, so pandas.concat, and you're going to concatenate all these together. So I have my original data frame, and then I concatenate my ADX data frame, my MACD data frame, and my RSI data frame, just like that. And then I think I need to do axis equals 1 here, okay, so that it knows how to concatenate them. And then if I print the data frame again, let's see what happens. And then if I look down here, I ran that, and now you see I have all this price data, and then I have separate columns for ADX 14, DMP 14, DMN 14, MACD, and RSI all together, right? And so if I want to just filter this down and just show the rows where RSI is oversold, for instance, I could do like DF equals DF, and then DF RSI 14 is less than 30, like that. I think that's how that would work. And if I do that, you can see this just shows me all of the rows in the Pandas data frame where our RSI is less than 30. So you see how all those are in the 20s. And so it looks like on the 5-minute time frame, as of like 10 minutes ago, it reached oversold, right? And so if you look at, I guess, like 7:10 or so, and if I look at this, I guess you'll see that eventually this led to an oversold condition right here. And so if I were to plot the RSI on here, right, so relative strength index, right? Yeah, so you can see that's indeed the case. So the sell-off happened. You can see that the RSI went below 30 here and is considered oversold. And then, I don't know, maybe you want to buy it and you think this first green candle is going to be a bounce, right? And as we know from our previous video, I made that crypto trading bot. Just using the RSI on its own is not a good idea. You know, it's not going to give you any real edge because this could easily stay oversold. And that's why you might want to combine with other indicators or other ideas you may have. And you know what? I think that's pretty good for this video. We gave a pretty good overview of the different projects we're going to build. I showed you how to use CCXT and Y Finance to get stock and crypto price data. We grabbed that data, we applied a few indicators from different categories for momentum and trend, did a brief discussion of ADX. We applied those indicators to this data frame of price data. We concatenated that all together and we filtered it down. So we have a good handle on using Pandas TA to apply technical analysis to price data. So in the next video, we're going to focus on setting up a Discord channel, how to set up a Discord webhook, and how to create notifications that get sent as chat messages. And I'll show you how to set up a Linode server. That way I can keep a script like this running at all times, checking for price data, running these indicator functions, and sending notifications when appropriate, when there's an event in time we're interested in. So thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned for the next video in the series. Thanks.